One moment, she was there, a streak of movement against Wyoming's endless wilderness. The next, she was gone. Vanished. No sound. No trace. Just, empty air. July 24, 1997. Amy Bechtel, a record-breaking runner with Olympic dreams, taught her morning fitness class like any other day. She laughed with students, checked her watch, and dashed out to run errands, a quick stop at the photo shop, a glance at the clock. She had a training route planned in the Wind River Range, a place she knew as well as her own heartbeat. But by sunset, she hadn't returned. Her husband, Steve, waited. Then called her parents. Then the sheriff. Her white Toyota Tercel was found unlocked near Burnt Gulch, keys inside, water bottle half full. Like she'd stepped out for a second and the earth swallowed her whole. For 6 years, the case went cold. No body. No suspect. Just whispers and dead ends. Then, a single tip surfaced, one so unsettling, it forced investigators to revisit everything they thought they knew. What really happened to Amy Bechtel? And why, after all this time, does the truth feel just out of reach? This isn't just another missing persons case. This is the story of a woman who vanished without a single clue, into thin air, in the place she knew best. Amy Bechtel wasn't just any runner. She was a force, a University of Wyoming track star, an Olympic hopeful, the kind of athlete who pushed limits. She grew up in these mountains. She knew every trail, every turn. So how does someone like that disappear without a trace? The police had nothing. No blood. No torn clothing. No signs of a struggle. Just an unlocked car in a wilderness that gave up no secrets. The husband, Steve Bechtel, a seasoned climber, was the last to see her. He waited hours before calling for help. His journals raised eyebrows. But no evidence ever tied him to her disappearance. The serial killer, Wayne Eaton, a murderer who hunted women in Wyoming around the same time. Was he on Loop Road that day? The wild card, the Wind River Range itself, a place of sudden storms, hidden crevices, and predators. But even the wilderness leaves bones behind. Then, in 2003, a tip came in, one so specific, it couldn't be ignored. A witness claimed to have seen 2 men near Burnt Gulch that day. A truck with out-of-state plates. A shallow grave. Was this the break investigators needed? Or just another dead end in a case full of them? We're going to examine. The last hours, what really happened that afternoon? The suspicion around Steve, innocent man or hiding something? The darkest theory, did a killer slip through the cracks? The clue that changed everything, and why it still might not be enough. This is the story of a disappearance that defies logic, and the one lead that could finally crack it open. The normalcy before the storm. The alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m. Amy Bechtel laced up her running shoes before dawn, just like always. This was her ritual. The empty roads. The first light over the Wind River Range. The rhythm of her breath-keeping time. She taught a 6:30 a.m. aerobics class at the Lander Fitness Center, high energy, full of her signature tough love motivation. Students said she seemed normal. Maybe even happier than usual. 9:17 a.m., she walked into Photo Express, flipping through photos for a competition. The clerk noticed her checking her watch twice. In a hurry, he asked. She smiled. Just want to beat the heat on my run. 10:45 a.m., a bank teller confirmed Amy withdrew $40, enough for groceries, gas. Nothing out of ordinary. 12:30 p.m., the last confirmed sighting. Amy at her house, packing her red hydration pack. Steve was already gone, climbing near Du Bois with friends. The route that became a mystery. She likely drove toward Loop Road in Shoshone National Forest, her favorite training ground. This wasn't some rookie's path. This was her territory. She'd run these trails 100 times. Every route. Every switchback. Her white Toyota Tercel was found parked neatly near Burnt Gulch. Driver's door unlocked. Keys in the ignition. Half-full water bottle in cup holder. Running shoes missing, she likely wore them. No skid marks. No broken glass. Just a car waiting for a runner who never came back. The first red flag. Steve returned around 4:30 p.m. By 10 p.m., with no call, no Amy, he phoned her parents. Then the sheriff. Why the delay? Was it denial? Or something else? Midnight, July 25th. Flashlights swept the roadside where her car sat. They called her name into the darkness. Only the wind answered. Dawn broke on July 25th, the first 48 hours, desperation sets in, and with it came the first wave of searchers, 500 volunteers, helicopters, and K-9 units scouring every inch of that brutal terrain. The terrain, the Wind River Range doesn't give up its secrets easily. Dense forest. Sheer cliffs. Hidden ravines. The odds, in wilderness disappearances, 90% of victims are found within 2 miles. After 72 hours. The survival rate drops to 1%. The reality, by day 3, hope was fading. No clothing scraps. No broken branches. No footprints. Steve Bechtel sat with investigators. His story never wavered, but his timeline raised eyebrows. Let me ask you this, if your spouse was hours late from a run in grizzly country, when would you call for help? Drop your answer below. Key points. The delay, waited 6+ hours to report her missing. The journal, pages filled with dark, ambiguous passages. The bruises, Amy's brother once noticed finger-shaped marks on her arm. Innocent behavior or red flags? You decide. Comment now, was Steve hiding something? Fremont County Sheriff's Department brought in the FBI. Polygraphs. Interviews. Evidence bags. They searched the Bechtel home 3 times. Dug through trash. Analyzed phone records. Came up empty. Could the wilderness itself be the killer? Animal attack, no blood at the scene. No scattered belongings. Weather, clear skies that day, no sudden storms. Injury, Amy knew these trails. A seasoned runner doesn't just wander off. Hit like if you think this was no accident. The wilderness doesn't erase people without a trace. Lander divided into 2 camps. Steve's guilty, he knows more than he's saying. Amy was taken by someone else. Maybe someone still out there. Then, a trucker came forward. Said he saw a woman matching Amy's description near Loop Road that afternoon. With 2 men. Subscribe right now, because what happens next changes everything. While investigators circled Steve, a more terrifying possibility emerged, a predator already hunting in Wyoming's wilderness. The pattern, Eaton had murdered at least one woman, Lisa Marie Kimmel, in 1988, dumping her body in the North Platte River. The timeline, he was active in Wyoming throughout the 1990s. The connection, Eaton frequently traveled Highway 287, the same route to Loop Road. A serial killer operating just miles from where Amy vanished. Coincidence? Or the break in the case? But there were problems. No physical evidence linking Eaton to Amy. No witnesses placing him near Lander that day. Eaton himself never confessed. Without a body, without a crime scene, the theory remained just that, a theory. Could the mountains themselves hold the answer? The terrain, the Wind River Range contains unmapped caves, sudden drop-offs, and areas so remote they've never been searched. The odds, even experienced hikers have vanished here, their remains found years later. But here's what doesn't add up, Amy's hydration pack. Her keys. Her wallet. All would have been found if she'd simply gotten lost. Then came the trucker's account. 2 men near Burnt Gulch around 2 p.m. A beat-up Ford pickup with Colorado plates. 1 man, acting aggressive, toward a woman. Was this Amy's last moment? A random encounter gone wrong on a lonely road? In 2003, a psychic contacted police with chilling details. Amy was buried near a campsite off Loop Road. 2 men were involved. 1 had a history of violence against women. Too specific to ignore. Too vague to solve the case. 6 years after Amy vanished, the theories had only multiplied. A husband with unexplained bruises and dark journal entries. A serial killer roaming free. A random abduction. A wilderness accident defying all logic. But without a body, without a confession, Amy's case remained, and remains, wide open. Which theory makes the most sense to you? Husband? Stranger? Serial killer? Lost in the wild? Your thoughts could spark new discussion. Comment below before the next reveal. 6 years of dead ends. 6 years of silence. Then in 2003, a phone call shattered the stalemate. The tip came from an unexpected source, a psychic who claimed to have visions about Amy's fate. Her details were unnervingly specific. A shallow grave near a known campsite. 2 men involved in her disappearance. 1 perpetrator with a history of violence against women. A vehicle with out-of-state plates seen nearby. This wasn't some vague premonition. These were actionable details that matched witness accounts from 1997. Investigators immediately returned to Loop Road with cadaver dogs. Focused on areas the psychic described. Used ground-penetrating radar near suspected burial sites. Interviewed campers from that summer. For the first time in years, they had something to chase. But the wilderness wasn't ready to give up its secrets. Despite the promising lead. No disturbed earth was found at the described location. No physical evidence surfaced. The psychic couldn't identify the alleged perpetrators. Without a body, prosecutors had no case. It was the break they prayed for, and yet, another dead end. Steve Bechtel remained under scrutiny. Never charged, but never fully cleared. Continued climbing career, remarried in 2005. Maintained public innocence while avoiding interviews. To some, his silence spoke volumes. To others, it was just a man trying to move on from tragedy. Wayne Eaton was finally arrested in 2002 for Lisa Kimmel's murder. Investigators desperately searched for links to Amy. Compared soil samples from his property to Loop Road. Reviewed his whereabouts in July 1997. Found no concrete connection. A serial killer was finally behind bars, but was he Amy's killer? The evidence said no. Amy's parents Dwayne and Joanne held annual memorial runs in her honor. Pushed for continued media coverage. Died without answers, Joanne in 2012, Dwayne in 2017. They spent 20 years waiting for a knock on the door that never came. Amy was declared legally dead in 2004. The case remains open but inactive. Not closed. Not solved. Just, waiting. 3 haunting questions remain. Why were there no signs of struggle at her car? How could an experienced runner vanish without a trace? Who were the 2 men multiple witnesses reported? The Wind River Range keeps its secrets well. Too well. And if this case moved you, share it. Someone, somewhere, might hold the missing piece. 26 years later, Amy Bechtel's disappearance remains one of Wyoming's most haunting mysteries. Not just another missing person case, but a vanishing that defies all logic. Why does this story still grip us? Because it breaks every rule. No body. The wilderness always gives something back, but not this time. No clear suspect. Not the husband. Not the serial killer. Not the wilderness itself. No closure. Just a family left waiting, and a town forever wondering. The three possibilities, ranked by likelihood. Foul play by someone unknown. The two men spotted near Loop Road. The truck with out-of-state plates. This wasn't random. Someone targeted her. The husband theory. The delayed call to police. The suspicious journal entries. But with no evidence, no motive, and no confession, can we really say it was him? The impossible accident. A fall so severe no trace remained. An animal attack that left nothing behind. Even the experts say, that's not how these things happen. That 2003 tip remains the closest thing to a break in the case. It matched witness accounts. It explained the lack of remains. It suggested a deliberate cover-up. So why couldn't they prove it? Because without a body, without a crime scene, even the best lead isn't enough. Amy's memorial run still happens every year in Lander. Her family is gone now, but the community keeps her memory alive. Consider this. What if Amy didn't vanish on Loop Road at all? What if her last stop, the photo shop, was the moment everything changed? That hurried glance at her watch. The errand that took just a little too long. Was someone already watching her? We're left with one unbearable truth. Amy could be anywhere. Buried in an unmarked grave in the Wind River Range. Dumped in a mine shaft that hasn't been searched. Or worse, alive somewhere, living a life that isn't hers. Until someone speaks up, we may never know. But here's what I do know, cases like this don't stay cold forever. Not when people keep asking questions. Before you go, we need your help. For the channel. These stories matter. Click subscribe so we can keep bringing them to light. Ring the bell for real-life mysteries that deserve answers. For the discussion. What's your theory? After everything we've covered, who do you think took Amy Bechtel? Comment below. Your thoughts could spark the breakthrough someone needs. Amy Bechtel's case isn't just a mystery, it's a warning. About how quickly someone can disappear. About how fragile safety really is. And about why we can never stop looking. Coming next is another Vanishings, another family still waiting. You won't want to miss this one. Until then, keep looking. Keep asking questions.